What's going on YouTube? It's Machanga back with another video. So when I'm looking for a laptop, I look for something that is affordable and versatile for my schoolwork as well as my day-to-day work. This ThinkPad L13 Yoga is a really nice budget-friendly 13-inch business-oriented 2-in-1 laptop. You can get it in silver or black. It weighs around 3.2 pounds or roughly 1.4 kilograms. There are quite a few configurations available, but they're all running 10th generation Intel processors. I have the Core i5 model that can turbo up to 4.4 gigahertz, but you can get a Core i7 for a bit more horsepower. If you're in the market for a gaming machine, then you shouldn't be looking at this category of laptop or Ultrabook. Benchmarks aren't how I make a decision to purchase or recommend a certain device, but I'll run a few of them in this video for those that are interested. I typically rely on real-world performance tests that'll give me a more accurate picture of how a device will fit into my workflow. I used this L13 Yoga throughout my summer session, and I had zero issues and no hiccups in any of my necessary applications. I do have to say though that ditching my ThinkPad P1 for over a month to use this wasn't an easy decision, but I can tell you that if you're a student, an email warrior, you need a convertible laptop for web browsing and Zoom calls, this is a great choice. This is a 13.3-inch touchscreen display that's only available in Full HD, no 4K, and I think that was a really smart move on Lenovo's part for the target market. The everyday average user won't really be interested in taking a hit on battery life just for a higher resolution display. I ran this display around 75% brightness most days, and I got around 9 hours of mixed use battery life. I prefer to set the power mode to best performance, but you can toggle it between that and best battery life. A 65-watt rapid charger does come in the box, and the power brick isn't large and heavy, so if you need to plug in, it won't be a major hassle. You can also get this with Wi-Fi 5 or Wi-Fi 6, but either way, I found battery life to be more than enough for me. While I'm not doing any traveling right now, this could definitely make a good travel machine. Lenovo didn't put any Thunderbolt 3 ports on this Yoga, and I understand that would increase the price quite a bit, but it's something worth mentioning. The build is high quality magnesium alloy that does collect a ton of fingerprints, but I just keep a microfiber cloth within arm's reach. It's thin enough, and I appreciate the size because it gives us all of the ports we use the most, including 2 USB Type-A ports, one on each side, a full-size HDMI port, and even a micro SD card slot. Sure, I would prefer a full-size SD card slot, but you can't get everything at this price point. I'll leave links in the video description below for updated pricing, but this laptop starts at around $680. Heat and noise haven't been an issue, although the fans did ramp up as expected during the running of the benchmarks. Something I really like about this machine is the Garage Wacom pen. I never had to worry about replacing a miniature battery or remembering to put the pen on a separate charger. It's a small pen and I really like using my bigger Lenovo pen better, but I'm happy to have it tucked away in here. You can buy the bigger pen separately and it'll work perfectly fine on this display. There are lighter, thinner 2-in-1 laptops on the market, but there's just something about the sleek, minimal look of Lenovo's non-gaming line that I absolutely love. Of course, you couldn't really call this a Yoga if it didn't bend and fold. The hinge is nice and rigid and it doesn't creak or give under pressure. Many people might consider 13 inches to be a bit too large to hold in tablet mode, but I found it to be comfortable in both portrait and landscape orientations. You get that nice legendary ThinkPad keyboard and it's great exactly like it always is. It still has the signature red track point whether you want it or not. You also get a fingerprint reader that works great for logging into the laptop. Windows does include an option to operate the L13 in tablet mode if you find that to be a bit easier to manage. Again, the pen is a Wacom digitizer and it was responsive throughout my use for the past 5 weeks or so. Just keep in mind that I'm not an artist, so if you intend to do a ton of drawing, your experience could be slightly different. With the size of this thing though, I don't know how comfortable it would be to use for extended periods of time, but I didn't struggle to get used to it after about 10 minutes. If you've used the pen that comes with the Samsung Galaxy Note line, then this will be right up your alley. Holding this 2-in-1 with one hand wasn't a hard thing for me, but if you're coming from a traditional tablet or even a Chromebook, it might take a bit of getting used to. You don't have to just hold it in your hands though. You can set it down with the keyboard tucked away for presentations, or even video calls. Speaking of video calls, the sound you get from the speakers on the bottom is actually not bad. They don't sound tinny at all, and I was pleasantly surprised by that. I know I mentioned that this laptop isn't for gaming. Well, it's also not for video editing or any other processing power hungry applications or tasks. The screen isn't as color accurate as the one on my P1, but if you do use Photoshop, I don't think you'll be too disappointed in the display on this one. At 300 nits brightness, it's not class leading or anything, but it'll get the job done for the average consumer. When you're done with Google Meet or your Zoom calls, you can use the privacy shutter to cover up the 720p camera up top. I love that feature. So let's wrap this up with some benchmarks. Again, this is the 10th generation Intel Core i5 model with 8 gigs of DDR4 RAM. All of these scores were as expected. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I don't make any purchase decisions based solely on benchmarks, but these can definitely give you a decent idea about what you should expect performance-wise when using this machine for different day-to-day tasks. When it comes to the Microsoft Office suite of applications like Word and Excel, browsing the web, watching YouTube videos and Netflix, making and taking video calls, doing homework, or even writing a novel, this laptop can handle those tasks without breaking a sweat. So let me know what you think about this L13 Yoga down in the comments section. I have a few more 13-inch laptops I'll be posting reviews on soon, including my very first Ryzen laptop. So if you have questions about specific features or my recommendations, feel free to ask me. If you like this video and want to see more from me, hit the like button. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and make sure you tap the bell icon so you'll be notified every time I post a new video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.